Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and the Apple Watch Series 7 has been out for a month, and I've been using this on my wrist since the day it was released. And so I want to talk about the overall design, how it's held up, if it's worth upgrading to if you have a Series 6 or earlier Apple Watch, and just the overall experience, including battery life and more. And so, like I said, it's been out a month. I've been using it every single day since I did the original unboxing, and I've been using it on my wrist with this band as soon as I got it. This is a Nomad stainless steel band to match the watch, and they were nice enough to send that along, and I can link that in the description if you want to check it out. But it's stainless steel. I've been using it with this band, and I often use this other band from Apple when I don't want something that's as heavy on my wrist. One thing I noticed going from the last generation, which was titanium, to this generation stainless steel, there's a noticeable weight to it that's much heavier than before, and that's basically going from aluminum or aluminium to steel or from titanium to steel. There's definitely a weight difference here, especially if you're using one of these steel bands. So sometimes it's a little bit heavy. I'll change it out with my normal use. And the overall design of this year is slightly different in that it has a larger display. So if I turn it on here, you can see the larger display, and it wraps around the edges a little bit. So ever so slightly it wraps around the edges. You can see this a little bit better on different watch faces, where this is one custom to the Series 7, where the numbers sort of wrap around the outside edge, and it gives you that idea of an extra display size. I'll compare those in just a moment, but the overall design is pretty much the same as last year. And I say pretty much because the main thing that's different is the speaker on the side. So you can see the speaker on the side of the Series 7. There's just one on the left-hand side. On the Series 6, it has two speakers. On my Series 6 in titanium, there was two. On the stainless steel on the right, there's one. It's a slight difference. There's also a difference, like I said, with the display. It's a little bit larger. And so that larger display is bigger and more noticeable than I would have imagined initially. So let me go back over here to the other or the exact same watch face. And with the two watches side by side, you can see that there is a little bit larger face on the right watch with the new Series 7. We have a 45mm, and while I didn't think this would be much of a difference, it definitely is a difference, as you can see here. So while we have the larger watch face, that's the main difference, we can use all of the same bands. So that's something that Apple has been consistent with since the initial Apple Watch. You can use any band as long as you have the larger size Apple Watch with the larger size watches, and the same is true with the smaller one. So if you have the 41mm or any of the others throughout the year, they'll still work on the same watches. So if you have a collection of bands, it's nice you can continue to use them. Now, as far as the stainless steel, the reason I get stainless steel or titanium is because of its scratch resistance, its scratch resistance in general. The display is sapphire crystal, and like I've said before, and others have shown, it's not the best of sapphire, but it's much better than glass. So it scratches it's much more scratch resistant and has zero scratches on it. I've banged this into concrete and everything else, you won't see a single scratch. Along the outside edge as well, stainless steel does tend to show a little bit more as far as the scratches go, but this one looks pretty clean. So far, it's not scuffed up or anything like that. So it's holding up well. They're very, very durable. If you have the aluminum one, then maybe you would want a screen protector on that since it's glass if you're a little bit rough on it, or even a case. But if you have the stainless steel or titanium, they seem to hold up very well. This year, the sensors are identical. So let me take this watch band or open the watch band here and compare the sensors. So the sensors are identical, and you're not really getting anything else this year other than maybe a slightly larger screen. So the chipset inside is the same. The battery is a little bit different in size, but you also get a brighter screen this year. So you can see all the sensors are the same. The display is brighter, but only when it's down. So when the display is down and in always on mode, the display is a little bit brighter. Now, this doesn't matter to me as much, and the reason is I'm not looking at my watch when it's tilted away from me. When I bring it up and look at it, of course, I want to see it and expect it to do what you would expect the watch to do. But when tilted away, that doesn't really matter to me at all. It's nice that it's there. It's 70% brighter indoors when your wrist is down, but either way, it doesn't really make a difference to me. The larger display is what makes the biggest difference. And it's something, like I said, I didn't think it would be that big of a difference, but maybe you want to text someone or want to input a password or something like that. You have a full-size keyboard now. So if we go into messages, now the full-size keyboard is quite good. You can use quick path or basically swipe to input text, and it understands it fairly well. So if I swipe in here, hi, how are you today, you'll see it picked that up pretty easily. However, I find it much easier just to use voice dictation. Hi, how are you today? And you'll see it worked pretty well. So I find that to be the most efficient way just to input text, but you have the keyboard option there if you want to. So that's something that's really nice with that extra size screen. Also, if you go into an app such as Calculator, the buttons are a little bit larger. So maybe you were using this and it was difficult. It should be a little bit more easy to use now. However, the larger screen doesn't make a huge difference for most people, especially if you're using the smaller size. However, we do have a couple extra options as far as this goes with watch faces and things, but I think most people are curious about maybe battery life and fast charging. And while we can fast charge this, I've found that the watch charges fairly fast anyway. I put it on the charger, it charges up at night, I take it off the charger, and then use it throughout the day. I typically find that it gets pretty decent battery life, but about the exact same as the Series 6. So you'll see I'm at 79%. I took this off the charger at about 9 a.m. this morning, and so it's been off the charger about 5 hours or so, and we're down about 21%. So it's doing pretty good, and typically throughout the day it does quite well. Now, as far as battery, if we go into battery, we can check the battery health. Battery health after 1 month of use is 100%. I just put it on the charger every night, and I have optimized battery charging turned on. It handles the battery for me, and it's doing pretty well. I'd say it's doing a little bit better than the Series 6 since we have optimized battery charging, and I'm on a public version of watchOS 8.1.1. So this seems to be doing well with battery, but I'm not getting any additional battery over what I would get with a Series 6 in my use. I can get about a day and a half with this with my typical use. And I use this sometimes, maybe I'll take a walk, use the workout. I'm not using a bunch of the fitness options myself, but some of those people that are doing that regularly, maybe streaming to AirPods, you are going to use that battery up the same as you would with a Series 6. So there isn't really an advantage there. Also with the Series 7, you have better dust resistance, but I really haven't noticed any difference since it is already water resistant. You can swim with it and everything else. And one person I did hear from typically washes their watch and then was using some alcohol wipes to wipe it down and found that the front popped off of it. I recently advised them not to use that as alcohol will loosen the adhesive and pop the screen off. So if you have battery swelling issues, it could do that, but it was too new of a watch for that to be happening over and over. So I advised not to do that. And it seems like they're not having any issues since. So if you're going to clean it, of course, wipe it down with water, maybe quickly wipe it down with a Lysol wipe or something like that, or Clorox wipe as Apple advises on their website, but nothing more. Don't let it sit in that sort of material or you'll typically loosen adhesives that hold it together. Now, reception-wise, I haven't noticed any difference at all. This is actually the cellular model, and it stays connected, does what I need it to do. I haven't really had any issues there, and it seems to work fine. No issues whatsoever. It really just does exactly what I need it to. And if I leave my phone at home, go for a walk, I'll still get my notifications since I have that cellular network active. So it's nice to have that. And of course, it seems to work just fine. All of the sensors work well. And the only thing I've found, the same as any other watch, is when you put it on your wrist and maybe you want to check your different heart rate settings or maybe your ECG, you will need to make sure that it's fairly tight to your wrist so those sensors have good contact. Other than that, it's basically the same as anything else. It's the same as all the other watches. And the number one question I get asked is, should you upgrade from a Series 6 to a Series 7, or is it worth the upgrade? And I would say it's worth the upgrade if you need larger text from a Series 6, but if you're getting it for any of the other features, I wouldn't really do that. If you want the larger display, then yes. However, if you're on a Series 5 or older, then absolutely it's worth the upgrade. There's definitely advantages as far as battery life, the always-on display, the larger display, of course, and just the newer build with nicer speakers and more. So it's definitely worth the upgrade if you're on an older watch. I'm not even sure why Apple still sells a Series 3. I think they should get rid of that and should have just sold the Series 4 and maybe the Series 7 and SE. But if you're on any of the others, other than maybe a Series 6, I would recommend upgrading to it. If not, then I would probably hold off. Now, I don't think we're going to see a Series 8 redesign. I think we're going to have this design for a while. Maybe we'll see some new materials, maybe ceramic again, or just different finishes, but I wouldn't expect any major upgrade to Apple Watch other than maybe sensors with Series 8. So if you have a Series 6 and you want to wait for maybe new sensors that Apple has possibly been working on. I know that they're working on some blood pressure monitoring sensors, as well as possibly in the future monitoring blood glucose levels. If they can get that to work properly, that would be revolutionary for a lot of people. Then maybe it would, or then at that point it would be worth the upgrade. But right now I would hold off if you're on a Series 6, like I said. Otherwise, it's worth the upgrade. Now, as far as future updates and everything else, well, we're still seeing updates for Series 3 Apple Watch. So this definitely will get updates for years with new features and more. Although year over year, sometimes you won't get the same watch faces, but you will get some upgrades. Hopefully we'll see some additional watch faces that take advantage of that larger display. But so far we haven't seen anything really revolutionary with this watch. It's a small upgrade with a larger display. It's really nice to have the larger display, but that's really the main change with this. But let me know your thought about the Series 7 in the comments below. Did you pick one up? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Also, for those of you wondering, on my watch face, many people ask me, what is this watch face? This is actually Infograph Modular with the app called Lumi in the middle. So if we go to edit, you can see here, if we go over to complications, this is an app called Lumi. So it's a paid app, which I purchased, and then you have it in the middle and it shows you sun up, sun down, things like that, or sunset. And so I use that. I've used it for quite some time and I really like it. So if you wanted to set up your watch like mine, that's what I'm using. Now, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.